shouldn't have listened.
I woke up because someone was sitting on the edge of my mattress. Not shifting, not breathing heavy, just sitting there, as if waiting politely for me to open my eyes. At first, I thought it was the weight of a cat or the blanket pulling unevenly. But then the bed dipped again, deeper this time, like whoever was sitting there had leaned closer. I tried to move. I couldn't. Every muscle from my jaw to my ankles was locked tight. Not numb, just frozen, like my body had been unplugged and no one told my mind. I kept my eyes shut and counted my breaths. 1, 2, 3. On the fourth, the mattress shifted again, but not like before. Something crawled forward on hands and knees. The springs didn't creak. The blanket didn't drag, just a silent, deliberate movement. It stopped right beside my hip. I felt a faint warmth on my skin, not breath, but the kind of heat a person gives off when their face is inches from yours. My eyes were still closed, but I knew the thing on the bed was trying to see if I'd open them. The room was dead quiet. No fridge humming, no cars outside, no heaters or vents, just the sound of my own heartbeat pounding behind my ribs. And then, right next to my ear, I heard it. A soft exhale. Long, slow, like someone testing whether I was awake. I tried to scream. Nothing. My throat didn't even tighten. When I finally forced my eyes to open, it wasn't slowly. They snapped open all at once, and I came face to face with something I still don't fully understand. Not a shadow, not a person. Its face was wrong in a subtle way that only shows up when your eyes adjust. The jaw was too narrow, cheekbones too high, skin too smooth, like it wasn't skin at all, but something stretched and waiting to wrinkle. But the worst part? Its eyes weren't where they belonged. They were too low, almost in line with its mouth, like the face had been assembled by someone who had seen humans only once and remembered the proportions wrong. It didn't flinch. It didn't blink. It just leaned closer, head tilting in tiny, unnatural increments as if studying my expression. I tried to move my arm. Nothing. I tried to move my tongue. Nothing. The only part of me I could control were my eyes, and unfortunately, that was the part it was most interested in. A faint shiver ran through its face, not a smile, but the suggestion of one, as if the muscle beneath was testing the idea. Then it lowered its head to the mattress and placed its ear against the sheet, right next to my ribs, listening, not to my breath, to my heartbeat. It stayed there for a long time, long enough that I felt my pulse change, half from fear, half from the realization that if my heart stopped right then, the thing lying beside me would know immediately. When I finally jerked awake, really awake, the room was brighter, morning sun cutting through the blinds. I could move again. The bed was empty. The impression of weight was still there, and the fitted sheet was slightly pulled toward the center, like it had been gripped tightly by two hands. I told myself it was a dream, sleep paralysis episode, hallucination, stress. But then the second night happened. I felt it climbing onto the bed again, except this time it didn't freeze when I opened my eyes. It didn't test me. It didn't study me. It pressed its forehead against mine, not gently, with pressure, like it was trying to measure the shape of my skull against its own. Its skin was colder than the pillow, not icy, just absent of warmth, the way a wall feels before sunrise. My body was locked again, breathing shallow, heartbeat stuttering. As it pressed harder, its face began to change. Not visually, but physically. The bones beneath its skin shifted, a fraction of an inch at a time, trying to match the contours of my face, like clay warming under pressure. My jaw, my cheekbones, my brow, it was learning me. The realization hit so hard I felt something snap behind my eyes. I don't know how, but I managed to let out a sound, a half-second grunt, barely vocal, but enough to break through whatever held me down. The creature jerked back. Its head rose too fast, like a puppet yanked by the strings, and then, impossibly, it slid backward off the mattress. Not climbed, not crawled. Slid, like something pulling itself into a narrow gap I couldn't see. I grabbed the bedside lamp, swung it on, and there was nothing there. Just my bedroom, quiet and still. The next morning I found hair on the floor. Not mine, too dark, too straight, too long. One strand was several feet long, not inches, feet. I swept it up and threw it into the trash. It was back on the floor by nightfall. Same strand, same position. I moved apartments, across town, different building, different layout. The first night in the new place, I felt the mattress dip. The second night, I woke up unable to move, watching the outline of something too tall to fit under the doorway. By the fourth night, I stopped sleeping altogether. I started crashing on the couch. That only made it worse. Something began standing behind it, close enough that the fabric pushed inward. Not a breeze, not settling. Pressure. The weight of two hands pressed against the back cushions, then, finger by finger, relaxing, like it was kneading the shape of them. The fifth night was the worst. I woke up upside down. My body wasn't on the pillow side of the bed. My head was at the footboard, blanket tucked around me perfectly, as if something had rotated me like a mannequin while I was under. There were no marks on the floor, no indication of movement, just that sickening realization. It could lift me, position me, rewrite where I ended and began. And then came the night I saw it completely. I woke up to the sound of fabric tearing softly, very softly. My bedroom curtain. I opened my eyes. The smallest amount, a sliver, and saw fingers reaching around the curtain edge. Not grabbing, not parting, measuring. 1 finger, 2, 3, 4. They pressed against the fabric the way a tailor measures a body for clothing. Slow, precise, exact. Then the curtain pulled back. The figure filled the entire height of the window frame. Too tall to stand inside, too tall to stand outside. It bent itself, its spine bending in places a spine shouldn't bend, to fit into the rectangular space. It leaned forward, pressing its face against the glass. But the glass didn't reflect my room. It reflected a bedroom completely identical to mine, down to the sheets, the lamp, the clothes on the floor. But the bed in the reflection wasn't empty. There was someone lying in it. Someone with my exact build, my silhouette, my posture. But the face turned toward the glass wasn't mine. It was almost mine, except the proportions were wrong. Head a little too narrow, eyes slightly too far apart, mouth not quite centered. Like the thing in the window had made a version of me from memory and wanted me to confirm if it got the dimensions right. I didn't scream. I couldn't. I shut my eyes. And the moment I did, I felt its fingers slide around the window frame, spider-like, almost tender. then the very faintest whisper. Almost perfect. The next morning, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. A photo. My room, my bed. Taken from the ceiling. An angle that wasn't physically possible. And in the photo, something was lying beside me. Not sitting, not watching. Lying. Like it had finally figured out how. The final message came 10 seconds later. You sleep best when you don't move. Let me finish the rest. I moved again. Farther. Different state. Hotel rooms only. Lights always on. I never stay in the same place 2 nights in a row. But last night, the hotel smoke alarm beeped at 3:14 a.m. Just once. Long enough for me to wake up. Long enough for me to see the shape in the corner of the room. Long enough for me to understand something horrifying. It wasn't watching me anymore. It wasn't trying to copy me. It was waiting for me to fall asleep on my back. Because that's the last piece it hasn't measured yet. And tonight, as I'm telling you this, I can feel the blanket pulling tighter around my feet, like something is smoothing the fabric, preparing the shape, getting ready for the final measurement. I'm going to start with the part nobody believes when I say it out loud. I woke up last Thursday at 2:41 a.m. Not because of a sound, not because of a dream, but because someone was standing halfway inside my bedroom doorway, even though the hallway behind them was pitch dark. I couldn't see details, just a silhouette, but it wasn't solid. It flickered, like a shadow being cast by a moving flame, except there was no flame, and no light strong enough to cast anything. And the worst part? It was facing the wrong direction. Not looking at me, not looking down the hall. It was facing the wall, as if it forgot how to stand like a person. That's where the night started. I moved into this house in southern Ohio 2 months ago after a divorce I won't get into. Quiet neighborhood, dead-end street, lots of woods behind the property. The kind of place you pick when you just want everything to stop hurting for a while. I'm not paranoid. I'm not imaginative. I'm a religious person in a quiet, private way. I don't scare easily. That first week in the house, the only strange thing I noticed was the hallway. It was wrong. The distance didn't feel consistent. Sometimes it looked shorter, sometimes longer. Sometimes the end of it felt too dark for how the light switch should have illuminated it. But I ignored it. I shouldn't have. 3 nights before the doorway figure incident, I woke up to something faint. A pressure shift. Like someone was walking down the hallway slowly, letting the floorboards settle under their weight. I sat up, listened. Nothing. But the open door at the end of the hallway looked darker than the rest of the house. That was the first night I shut my bedroom door before sleeping. It didn't help. The night after that, I woke again, not from sound, but from the absence of sound. My house is old. Wood settles, fridge hums, heater kicks. But at 3:12 a.m., everything was still. Perfectly still. I sat up. My bedroom door was closed. And still. I could see movement under it. A shifting blot of darkness pacing back and forth just outside. No footsteps, no breathing. Just a shadow sliding left. Right. Left. Pausing like it was deciding something. When it stopped, the doorknob twitched. Just once. Like someone testing it with 2 fingers. I whispered, "Who's there?" No answer. But the shadow bent. Its shape lowered, flattening as if it was putting its ear against the wood to listen. I didn't move for almost an hour. By morning, the house felt normal again. I told myself it was stress. I lied. Now back to last Thursday. I woke at 2:41 a.m. Bedroom door open, hallway dark, and something standing halfway in the doorway with its face turned to the wall. It stood completely still, except the edges of its body flickered, like its outline was struggling to stay attached. I reached for my phone, but the moment my hand moved under the door blanket, the shadow tilted its head, not toward me, but toward the ceiling, as though it heard something above us. Its neck twitched once, twice. Then it straightened in a jerky motion. I stayed still, pretending to be asleep, my breathing shallow, my eyes barely open. After several minutes, the shadow stepped backward into the hallway. But the hallway didn't get darker. It got deeper, like the walls stretched as it moved. I blinked. The shadow didn't walk away. It dissolved backward, as if the hallway swallowed it. I waited until dawn. I slept with the lights on for the first time since childhood. It didn't help. The following evening, something new happened. When the sun went down, the hallway refused to get dark gradually. One moment, it was lit by the warm orange lamp. The next moment, black. Not dim, not shadowed. Black. A perfect rectangle of pitch darkness at the end of the hall. I approached slowly, heart hammering. When I spoke, my voice didn't echo. Hallways echo. This one was absorbing sound. As I got closer, the temperature dropped. Something whispered my name. Not behind me, not from the darkness, but from all directions at once. Like the house itself had learned my voice and was returning it wrong. I backed away, shut my bedroom door, locked it. I didn't sleep. Last night was the worst. I woke to a whisper right beside my bed. Not a voice, not breathing. A whisper of movement. Fabric shifting. Something adjusting its weight on the carpet. I froze. My eyes adjusted to the dark. Something was kneeling beside the bed. Its shape wrong, like a shadow without a body. It leaned closer, slow and deliberate, until its head was almost level with mine. Then, it lifted one arm. Only it wasn't an arm. It was a long, spreading blur, impossible to track. Not a limb, not smoke. Something between the two. It pressed that blur shape against the mattress beside my face, not touching me, just feeling the bed, as if memorizing where I was. Then, in one smooth motion, it slid under the bed, perfectly, not crawling, not bending, just flattening into the floor and vanishing. The floorboards under me creaked, not from weight, but from shifting, like something rearranging itself. I didn't move, not until dawn. I'm writing this from my living room, because the hallway behind me keeps changing lengths every time I look away. Because the shadow in the doorway keeps returning, each time facing a different direction. Because the whispering walls are getting louder, like something is crawling through them. And because a few minutes ago, the shape under my bed knocked on the floor. Not to get out, to get my attention. And the knock came from the wrong side of the house. The part where there is no room, no crawl space, no foundation beyond rock, just earth, and something moving under it. Something that's been learning the blueprint of my house. learning where I sleep, where I breathe, where I hide. Something that keeps trying new doorways, new angles, new lengths. Something that can stand where no person should be able to stand. Something getting closer every single night. I think tonight it will finally try the bedroom again. And this time, it won't be standing in the doorway. It'll be standing right next to me. Just to see what I do when the hallway ends exactly where I'm lying. The first time it said my name, I thought it was a dream. But dreams don't shake dust from the ceiling. And dreams don't breathe. It happened at 3:19 a.m. last Monday. I woke up because the ceiling above my bed dipped. I don't mean sagged, I mean pressed downward, just once, like something heavy had crawled across the beams. Then, from inside the ceiling, my own voice whispered, "Aiden." Very soft, very close, like my mouth was on the other side of the plaster. I stared at the ceiling for an hour, too afraid to move. Nothing else happened. Not that night. The house I'm renting in Idaho was built in 1914, one of those narrow, tall farmhouses with an attic you can't stand up in unless you crawl along the beams. The landlord told me nobody uses the attic anymore, said it was mainly insulation and old wiring, said the previous renters complained about rodents. I wish it had been rodents. Rodents don't breathe in sync with your heartbeat. Rodents don't learn your footsteps. Rodents don't whisper your own name back at you. 2 days after I moved in, I heard something small in the attic, a scuttle, a soft scrape. Then a single long breath. I remember thinking, attics don't echo like that. The sound wasn't coming from above me. It was coming from just behind the ceiling, like something pressed its mouth right to the plaster. I stood in the hallway staring upward. The attic hatch was slightly open. Not enough for an animal, just enough for someone watching. I pushed a broom handle against it to close it. When it touched the hatch, something on the other side tapped back. Once. Then everything went silent. I started sleeping downstairs. Didn't help. 3 nights later, I woke up again, exactly 3:19 a.m. Not because of noise, because of weight. Not on the bed, on the ceiling. A slow, deliberate shifting, like a person moving on hands and knees, dragging their body across the beams. The movement stopped directly above my head, and then my own voice whispered again, "Aiden." I sat up as quietly as I could. Something responded. The ceiling fibers vibrated, dust drifted. A soft exhale seeped through the plaster. Not hot, not cold, just wrong. I whispered, "Who are you?" Silence followed. Then my voice whispered back, "Who are you?" But it wasn't an echo. The rhythm was different, curious, learning. I didn't sleep until the sun came up. That morning I climbed into the attic. I expected cobwebs, insulation, junk. What I found instead was unsettling in a way I can't properly describe. The insulation had been tunneled in deep, perfect lines, like something crawled through it daily. Some tunnels were wide enough for 2 arms. Some were barely the width of a rib cage. Some disappeared beneath the floorboards. And in the far corner, I saw something worse. Handprints. Not pressed downward into the insulation. Pressed upward from underneath the beams. Perfect outlines of fingers forcing through the floor. Like something crawled on the wrong side of the wood. I left the attic immediately, But when I climbed down the ladder, the attic hatch slammed shut behind me, hard enough to rattle the hallway light. And something whispered the exact sound of the slam only 1 second later, imitating it perfectly. Now comes last night, the night I know nobody's going to believe. I woke up not to noise, not to breathing, not to whispers, but to silence so complete I could hear my blood move. Then something changed in the dark. The ceiling didn't sag this time. It opened, quietly, smoothly. A single line cracked across the plaster, just enough for a sliver of darkness to drip through. Not light, but a shadow, long and thin, sliding down the wall like liquid. I froze. The shadow pooled on the floor. Then, slowly, deliberately, something crawled out of it. But not onto the floor, onto the wall. Its limbs didn't bend. They dragged, like someone pulling a mannequin by invisible strings. It was the shape of a person, but the proportions were wrong. 2 long arms, 2 narrow shoulders, a neck that never stopped adjusting itself as if trying to figure out which direction a head should sit. And on its head, nothing. No face. Just the faint impression of features pushing outward from inside, like something learning what a face was supposed to look like, but shaping it from memory. My memory. Then it spoke. In my voice. But not like an imitation, like a rehearsal. Aiden. It tilted its head so far sideways the neck cracked. Then, in a voice closer to mine, clearer, more confident, I'm here. My breath caught. The thing moved closer, not walking, not crawling, flattening. Its body pressed itself against the wall like wet paper, sliding toward me with silent, liquid motion. I tried to scream. My voice didn't come. My throat wouldn't work. The thing reached the corner of the room, lifted its face toward me, and whispered one last thing in a voice that was almost perfect. Move over. Like it wanted my spot. Like it wanted to live here, now. Like it wanted to be me. The shadow body flowed upward toward the ceiling again, into the crack, into the beams. The crack sealed, the ceiling smoothed. Silence returned. I sat there until sunrise. And now, I'm downstairs typing this. Because a few minutes ago, the ceiling above me breathed again. And this time, it didn't whisper my name. It whispered, I'm coming down. In a voice exactly, perfectly identical to mine. Not an imitation, a match, a twin. And as I write this, the attic ladder behind me just creaked. Not from weight, from something climbing down. I want to start with the part that made me leave my own house at 5:13 this morning. My security camera sent me a notification. Motion detected. When I opened the feed, I saw myself, sitting on my couch. Except I wasn't home, and the version of me on the couch was smiling. Not a normal smile, not a happy smile. A slow, deliberate spreading of the mouth, like someone rehearsing how humans emote. It stared straight at the camera, unblinking, smiling, motionless. And then it raised its hand and waved. Slow, precise, as if counting the seconds. That's where the story ends, but not where it begins. 2 months ago, after a break-in in my neighborhood, I installed a full security system in my Phoenix home. Front yard camera, backyard camera, doorbell cam, living room cam, hallway cam, bedroom cam, which I never turned on because I didn't like the idea of it watching me sleep. Nothing weird happened at first. Just raccoons, Amazon deliveries, neighbors' kids running around. Then came the first glitch. 5 weeks ago, 2:07 a.m. Doorbell camera went off. Motion detected. When I checked the footage, there was nothing at the door. But the timestamp froze halfway through, and for 0.3 seconds, a frame appeared that didn't belong. A person's silhouette, standing too close to be in frame, too close to the lens. Like someone's forehead was pressed directly against it, except the face was blurred in a way no camera blur works. Not smeared, not pixelated, distorted. Like the camera was trying to redraw it every frame but failing. That was the first time. I told myself it was compression, a glitch, anything normal. It wasn't. The next glitch happened 3 nights later. The backyard camera triggered at 3:14 a.m. I checked the feed expecting a coyote. At first, there was nothing, just dark grass and my wooden fence. Then, a figure stepped into view from the left side. Not walking, not emerging, just appearing. As if the frame forgot to include it, then corrected itself. The figure stood with its back to the camera, still, silent. Then, very slowly, it turned. Not its body, just its head. The movement wasn't fluid. It was a sequence of micro stutters, like the camera was capturing one frame of the turn every half second. Halfway through turning, it stopped. Even frozen, the face was wrong. The eyes were too close together. The mouth was too wide. The skin tone shifted every few seconds, like the camera was toggling through presets, trying to decide which version belonged to this figure. Then the footage jumped. The figure was suddenly right at the camera, so close its nose should have touched the lens. But there was no nose, just blurred skin, a suggestion of features. I deleted the clip, told myself it was a corrupted file. But then the cameras started activating while I was awake. A week later, I was in the kitchen fixing coffee when the hallway cam pinged. Motion detected. The hallway was empty, but something was off. The walls looked narrower. The light changed color mid-frame, and in the reflection of the picture frame on the wall, I saw someone walk by. A human shape, my height, my build, but not walking like me. It moved like frames were missing, like old stop-motion animation. I ran into the hallway with a kitchen knife. Nobody there. But the reflection in the picture frame showed someone standing at the end of the hall, someone who wasn't in the hallway itself. The reflection blinked. I dropped the knife. That was the first time I realized something was inside my cameras that wasn't inside my house. At least, not yet. The next incident happened 3 nights later. I was brushing my teeth when the living room cam triggered. I checked my phone. I shouldn't have. The live feed showed me sitting on the far end of the couch, wearing the exact clothes I had worn earlier that day. Except I was standing in the bathroom. The version of me on camera wasn't moving, just sitting, staring forward. I whispered, "What the hell?" On the feed, the other me smiled, slowly, like it heard me. I stepped into the hall to look toward the living room. Empty. When I looked back at the phone, the other me was now standing, facing the camera, head tilted. The mouth moved, but no sound came out. I turned off the cameras for the night. It didn't help. That didn't help when I checked my notifications. Something impossible had happened. A clip had been recorded at 5:22 a.m., except the system was disabled, and the notification simply said, "Face recognized." When I opened it, I saw myself entering the house at 5:22 a.m., only I was asleep in my bed at that time. And the version of me in the video walked in without keys, without opening the door. It glitched into the frame mid-step, as if it had been walking toward the house from a place the camera wasn't detecting. My legs went numb. I slept in my car that night. This morning, everything escalated. 4:51 a.m. Motion detected. Living room cam. I braced myself, opened the feed, and there it was again, sitting on my couch. Perfect lighting, perfect clarity. It wasn't blurry this time. It wasn't distorted. The system wasn't glitching. It was me. Perfectly me. Except the eyes didn't blink, and the smile didn't change. It lifted its hand and waved. My reflection in the glass door behind it waved too, except my reflection's face wasn't smiling, and its eyes were too many. I shut the app, ran to my car, drove until sunrise. I told myself I'd come back with police. Then, my phone vibrated. A final notification from inside my house. My bedroom camera, the one I never turned on. Motion detected. Person identified. You. And attached was a still frame. A picture of me sleeping in my own bed, except I was standing on the highway, looking at the picture on my phone. And behind the sleeping version of me, in the doorway, something was stepping into the room. Not me. Not the mimic. Something new. Something the cameras didn't detect properly. The notification labeled it unknown, appears similar to user. And as I stared at the image, my phone vibrated a second time. Camera offline. All feeds went black. And just now, as I'm typing this in my car, my phone lit up again. A text from my own number. Stop looking at the cameras. Come inside. We need to finish becoming you. And the car's rear-view mirror just reflected someone sitting in the back seat. Someone who looks exactly like me. And smiling.